Dean Martin was signing autographs after his Las Vegas show in 1973 when a janitor approached with a nervous smile and said, "Dino, you probably don't remember me, but I'm Giuseppe Torino, your 8th grade teacher from Steubenville." And what happened next would become the most emotional 5 minutes of Dean's entire career, proving that some debts can never be repaid but should always be honored, especially when the person who changed your life is now cleaning the floors of the theater where you perform for thousands. It was Saturday night, March 24th, 1973, and Dean Martin had just completed his second show of the evening at the International Hotel in Las Vegas. The performance had been electric, with Dean in top form, charming the packed audience with his signature songs and the effortless charisma that had made him one of the world's most beloved entertainers. Dean was in the backstage area, still in his white tuxedo, signing autographs for VIP guests and casino executives who had been granted access to meet him after the show. It was a routine that Dean had performed hundreds of times, smiling for photos, making small talk with fans, and graciously accepting the praise of people who wanted to tell him how much his entertainment meant to them. As the crowd of guests began to thin out, Dean noticed an elderly man in a janitor's uniform standing near the back of the group, holding a mop and looking uncertain about whether he should approach. The man appeared to be in his 70s, with gray hair and the weathered hands of someone who had worked physical jobs his entire life. Dean caught the janitor's eye and smiled, gesturing for him to come forward. Dean had always made it a point to acknowledge the working people in the venues where he performed. The stagehands, security guards, waitresses, and cleaning crews who made his shows possible but rarely received recognition for their contributions. "Hi there," Dean said warmly. "Thank you for keeping the place so clean for us. You do great work." The elderly janitor's face lit up with a mixture of nervousness and excitement as he approached Dean. "Mr. Martin," the man said with a slight Italian accent that seemed familiar to Dean, "I hope you don't mind me talking to you. I know you must be tired after such a wonderful show." "Not at all," Dean replied. "What's your name?" The janitor took a deep breath and spoke words that would stop Dean's world completely. "My name is Giuseppe Torino," the man said. "I don't know if you remember me, but I was your 8th grade teacher at Grant Elementary School in Steubenville, Ohio. You were Dino Crosetti then, and you sat in the 3rd row, 2nd seat from the window." Dean felt as if the ground had shifted beneath his feet. Giuseppe Torino had been more than just Dean's 8th grade teacher. He had been the first adult outside Dean's family to see potential in a shy, awkward Italian-American boy who struggled academically and seemed destined for a life in the steel mills like most of his classmates. Dean stared at Mr. Torino in amazement, memories flooding back of a classroom in 1939, of a teacher who had stayed after school to help struggling students, and of the man who had first suggested that Dino Crosetti had something special that deserved to be nurtured and developed. "Mr. Torino," Dean said, his voice thick with emotion, "of course I remember you. You changed my life." Mr. Torino's eyes filled with tears as he realized that his former student not only remembered him, but understood the impact their relationship had made. "Dino," Mr. Torino said, using the name he had known Dean by 34 years earlier. "I have followed your career from the very beginning. I have every recording you ever made, I've seen every movie, and whenever you're on television, I tell everyone that I was your teacher. I'm so proud of what you've accomplished." Dean was overwhelmed by the reunion and by the realization that Mr. Torino, now working as a janitor to support himself in his retirement years, had been quietly celebrating Dean's success for decades, while receiving no credit or recognition for his role in nurturing the talent that had made that success possible. "Mr. Torino," Dean said, "what are you doing here? I mean, what brings you to Las Vegas?" Mr. Torino explained that after retiring from 40 years of teaching in Steubenville, He had moved to Las Vegas to be near his daughter and her family. His teacher's pension was small, and he had taken the janitorial job at the International Hotel to supplement his income and stay active during his retirement. "I've been working here for 2 years," Mr. Torino said. "I've seen your shows many times from the back of the theater when I'm cleaning after the performances. I've wanted to talk to you, but I didn't want to bother you or make you uncomfortable. You're a big star now, and I'm just an old teacher." Dean was struck by Mr. Torino's humility and his assumption that their former teacher-student relationship might not matter to Dean given his current fame and success. "Mr. Torino," Dean said firmly, "you're not just anything. You're the teacher who believed in me when nobody else did. You're the reason I had the confidence to leave Steubenville and pursue entertainment. You changed the course of my entire life." Dean remembered specific moments from Mr. Torino's 8th grade classroom that had been pivotal in his development. Mr. Torino had been the first teacher to encourage Dean's interest in music, allowing him to sing for the class during special occasions, and praising his natural ability in front of other students. More importantly, Mr. Torino had been the first adult to tell Dean that he was smart enough to succeed in life through something other than factory work or manual labor. In an era when Italian-American students were often steered toward vocational training rather than academic or artistic pursuits, Mr. Torino had insisted that Dean had the intelligence and creativity to pursue any career that interested him. "I remember the day you kept me after school and told me I had star quality," Dean said to Mr. Torino. "You said that if I worked hard and believed in myself, I could do anything I wanted with my life." That was the first time any adult had ever said anything like that to me. Mr. Torino remembered that conversation too, and he shared his memories of Dean as a student, shy but observant, struggling with reading but demonstrating remarkable interpersonal skills and an intuitive understanding of how to connect with people. "You had something special, Dino," Mr. Torino said. "You could make people feel comfortable and happy just by being yourself. I knew that was a gift that could take you anywhere you wanted to go." Dean realized that their reunion was taking place in front of the remaining backstage guests, and he wanted to have a more private conversation with the teacher who had meant so much to him. "Mr. Torino," Dean said, "I want to talk with you more, but not here. Are you free tomorrow? I'd like to take you to dinner and hear about your life, your family, and what you've been doing all these years." Mr. Torino was overwhelmed by Dean's invitation, but he accepted with obvious joy and pride. The next evening, Dean took Mr. Torino to dinner at the most exclusive restaurant in Las Vegas, treating his forward teacher with the respect and honor that Dean felt he deserved. During their meal, Dean learned about Mr. Torino's life after Dean had left Steubenville. Mr. Torino had continued teaching for 40 years, inspiring hundreds of students and earning a reputation as one of the most dedicated and effective teachers in the school district. He had married his college sweetheart, Maria, and they had raised 3 children who all became professionals: a doctor, a lawyer, and an engineer. But Mr. Torino's greatest pride remained his former students, and he told Dean about other children he had taught who had gone on to successful careers in various fields. Mr. Torino had kept scrapbooks documenting his students' achievements, and Dean was touched to learn that he featured prominently in those records of Mr. Torino's professional legacy. During their conversation, Dean also learned that Mr. Torino's wife Maria had passed away 2 years earlier, and that his decision to move to Las Vegas had been motivated partly by loneliness and his desire to be closer to his daughter's family. Dean was moved by Mr. Torino's story and determined to ensure that his former teacher's remaining years would be comfortable and dignified. Without consulting Mr. Torino, Dean made arrangements for him to receive a substantial monthly pension supplement that would allow him to retire from his janitorial job and enjoy his golden years without financial worries. Dean also arranged for Mr. Torino to have permanent VIP status at all of his Las Vegas performances, with reserved seating and backstage access whenever he wanted to attend. But Dean's most meaningful gesture was his decision to publicly acknowledge Mr. Torino's influence on his life and career. During his next performance at the International Hotel, Dean interrupted his usual routine to call Mr. Torino onto the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen," Dean announced to the packed audience, "I want you to meet someone very special. This is Mr. Giuseppe Torino, my 8th grade teacher from Steubenville, Ohio. Mr. Torino was the first person to tell me I might have a future in entertainment. And everything I've accomplished in my career started with the confidence he gave me in his classroom 34 years ago." The audience rose in a standing ovation as Mr. Torino, dressed in a new suit that Dean had bought for him, joined Dean on stage. Dean asked Mr. Torino to share some memories of teaching in Steubenville, and the elderly man charmed the audience with his warmth, humor, and obvious pride in his former student's success. Dean then dedicated his performance of "That's Amore" to Mr. Torino, explaining to the audience that the teacher had been the first person to encourage Dean's love of Italian music and culture. The emotional reunion between Dean and Mr. Torino was captured by photographers and became one of the most widely published stories of Dean's career. The image of the famous entertainer embracing his elderly former teacher resonated with audiences around the world and inspired countless stories about the importance of teachers and mentors in shaping young lives. Dean's public acknowledgement of Mr. Torino also led to the teacher receiving recognition from educational organizations and his hometown community. The Steubenville School District named their new performing arts center the Giuseppe Torino Arts Center in honor of his decades of service and his role in nurturing one of the city's most famous native sons. Mr. Torino became a regular presence at Dean's Las Vegas performances and often traveled with Dean to other venues when his health permitted. Their renewed friendship enriched both their lives, with Mr. Torino providing Dean with perspectives on humility and service, while Dean ensured that his former teacher received the recognition and comfort he deserved. Dean also arranged for Mr. Torino to visit schools throughout Nevada and California, sharing his experiences as an educator and emphasizing the importance of believing in every student's potential. Mr. Torino's school visits became legendary for their warmth and inspiration, and many young teachers cited him as an influence on their own approaches to education. When Mr. Torino passed away in 1978 at the age of 81, Dean delivered the eulogy at his funeral, speaking about the immeasurable impact that dedicated teachers have on their students' lives and the importance of recognizing and honoring the educators who shape our dreams and possibilities. "Mr. Torino taught me that every child has something special inside them," Dean said during the eulogy. "His job wasn't just to teach reading and arithmetic. It was to help children discover their own potential and give them the confidence to pursue it. He did that for me, and he did it for hundreds of other students who were lucky enough to spend time in his classroom." Dean established a scholarship fund in Mr. Torino's memory that provides financial assistance for students from working-class families who want to pursue careers in the arts. The scholarship emphasizes not just talent, but also character, determination, and the kind of potential that Mr. Torino had specialized in recognizing and nurturing. The Giuseppe Torino Memorial Scholarship has helped over 300 students achieve their educational and artistic goals, creating a lasting legacy that honors both the teacher's dedication to his students and the gratitude of the student who never forgot the adult who first believed in his dreams. Dean often reflected on his reunion with Mr. Torino as one of the most meaningful experiences of his life, and he frequently spoke about the importance of acknowledging the teachers and mentors who make success possible. "Success isn't just about talent or luck," Dean would say in later interviews. "It's about having people who believe in you when you're young and vulnerable and unsure of yourself." Mr. Torino was that person for me, and meeting him again reminded me how much we owe to the people who see our potential before we see it ourselves. The story of Dean's reunion with Mr. Torino became part of the folklore surrounding Dean's character and values, illustrating his loyalty, humility, and recognition that fame and success create opportunities to honor the people who make those achievements possible. If this story of recognizing forgotten teachers and honoring the people who shape our dreams moved you, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Share this with anyone who needs to be reminded about the importance of acknowledging the educators, mentors, and guides who believed in us when we were young and uncertain about our futures. Have you ever had the chance to reconnect with a teacher who changed your life? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to ring that notification bell for more incredible stories about gratitude, recognition, and the lasting power of believing in a child's potential.